Well, breaking news coming in just now. Police Minister Mbalula has added a new twist to the burning Ntlemeza saga. Mbalula says Ntlemeza is not reading the law correctly, adding that the former Hawks boss was removed from office before he filed his appeal. The police minister says Ntlemeza will need a court order to return to work. Mbalula also says Ntlemeza's replacement was appointed before the court appeal was filed. Ntlemeza's old position has since been filed. Joining us on the phone line is Marinus, the constitutional law expert, joining us on the phone line. Well, Marinus, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon here on 8 and 7. Perhaps just explain to us the legalities surrounding this matter.
Well, the general's been, ordered by court to leave his office. That is dismissed. So he and the court in this case made the very special order that his dismissal takes place immediately. Now, he wants to appeal, and of course he may do that, but the court in this instance said our order is final. So he is not allowed, he cannot go against the court and go back to court. He is dismissed for all reasons, and he, for his own sake, he may appeal, but if he succeeds, he then can claim damages and so on. But at the moment, he is not in his office, and he's not allowed to stay in office.
Well, just talk us through with regards to the powers that the police minister has with regards to dismissing Ntlemeza or keeping him in office.
Well, the minister is head of the department, under the police department, and he has the constitutional powers to appoint and to dismiss his staff, and what he did in this case. And he did that not on his own. He gave, he executed the court decision. So he's acting absolutely within his powers.
Well, Marinus, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for your professional opinion on that certain matter. Well, moving over, joining us also in studio to unpack further details on this is 8 and 7 residential political analyst, Mr. Sifiso Mahlangu. Sifiso, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon, and a very good afternoon to you. Just share with us your initial reaction with regards to the entire twist which has been added now by Mbalula to the entire burning Ntlemeza issue.
Well, good afternoon, Matapelo, and good afternoon to all the viewers of NN7 who watch us across the globe. Even through live stream has really picked up substantially. The reality of this matter is Mr. Burning Ntlemeza in this case is absolutely lit, as Twitter has it, the burning issue. Mr. Mbalula says former Hawks head, Mr. Burning Ntlemeza, cannot return to work without a court order. And what the court order will do is it will reinstate him in his office, because his two positions have already been filled. Now, the position of the head of Hawks has already been filled with someone. He can't return to his previous position because that was advertised and filled with someone already. And so he's essentially nowhere within the Hawks organogram. However, what the spokesperson, Mr. Vuyo Mahanga of the SAPS, has stated is that Mr. Ntlemeza cannot return without a court order, because at the time he approached the court, that position was already filled. And so he's interpreting the law wrong. If he wishes to return to work, the court order will have to be revoked. He would have to get another court order saying he is still the head of the Hawks. So if he doesn't return as head of the Hawks, he can't return at all. So should he appear in the Hawks offices or try to take over the office, they'll have to arrest him because there's someone in the Hawks head already. So I think what they're citing is that when he approached the High Court, there was already someone in office. And so he can't assume that the office of the Hawks would stay vacant waiting for the court to assess in who is right or wrong. However, the first position he had the court had ruled out that he was not the right person for the Hawks. And so Mr. Mbalula is saying if he wants to return to office, he's got to approach the courts, meaning the court has to first assess if he was right to be the head of Hawks in the first place. And if the court can say he was right to be the head of Hawks in the first place, they can then say, well, you can then return into your new position as the Hawks head, which also has someone. So I think what the minister's doing is he's pushing Mr. Ntlemeza back to the courts because he knows that he doesn't have a good relationship with the Hawks, and that is to distill him as far as possible from the position of Hawks head.
Now, staying on that same note, what are the chances of Bernie Ntlemeza and receiving this court order? Is there a great chance of him receiving this order?
Well, what the spokesperson to the SAPS is saying, Mr. Vuyomhaga, is that if Mr. Ntlemeza wants to return to his office, he has to have a court order dismissing the first two orders. So, number one, he would have to reverse the order that declares that he is not rightly put in the position as Hawks head. That's going to be a disaster for him if he attempts to do that. So him attaining any order to instill him back in office will not be easy. And Mr. Mbalula knows that. So he's well aware that if a court says you are not to be at a place, if you come back and say, well, I was injured in this such and such a place, they'll have to ask, what were you doing there in the first place, because you were never supposed to be there. And so it puts Mr. Ntlemeza in a very compromising position. However, the debate will be, if Mr. Ntlemeza were to get a court order that says he is still the head of the Hawks, as unlikely as it is, if he returns to work, what do you do with the current head of the Hawks, which has been appointed by the minister?